Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the truly fascinating historical narrative of Prophet Ibrahim. He's easily one of the most revered figures in Islamic history. We're looking at a story of just absolute, unwavering faith, some truly extraordinary sacrifices, and a complete trust in Allah that literally continues to inspire billions of people around the world today. Let's get right into it. So think about this for a second. What if one man stood totally alone against an entire nation to defend the truth? Just imagine living in an ancient society where literally everyone worshipped idols, and somehow finding the sheer courage to stand up in that environment and declare, no, there is only one true God. Well, that is exactly what Ibrahim did. Part 1, a child born in the land of idols. Now, the contrast here is just wild. On one side, you have this deeply entrenched Mesopotamian society, and get this, his own father actually made and sold these idols for a living. Idol worship was everywhere. It was just the norm. But on the other side, you have young Ibrahim who started questioning the logic of it all from a really early age. It just didn't make sense to him. He couldn't understand why people prayed to statues that couldn't speak or hear or actually help anyone. For him, it was crystal clear. Only the creator of the heavens and the earth deserved worship. The Quran tells us about his deeply logical search for the creator, and it's super interesting. He essentially tested his environment. He observed the stars, then the moon, and finally the sun. But as each of these magnificent things set and disappeared from the sky, it hit him. He realized something profound. If it disappears, it simply cannot be the true creator of the universe. So he declared his devotion solely to Allah, the one who created absolutely everything. And right then, he started inviting his people to just leave their idols behind. Moving on to part 2, the breaking of the idols. Okay, so that internal realization, it soon turned into bold external action. The historical sources describe a moment when the townspeople all left for a big festival. So Ibrahim took this opportunity to walk right into their temple, which was just packed with idols. And he goes in and systematically dismantles their gods. He breaks all the idols in the temple. Well, actually, scratch that. All of them except the largest one. He left the biggest one standing and strategically placed his axe right beside it. So as you can guess, when the people returned from their festival, they were absolutely shocked. They demanded answers, yelling, "Who did this to our gods?" And Ibrahim delivers this brilliant mic drop kind of challenge. He looks at them and says, "Ask the biggest idol if it can speak." What a powerful way to force them to confront their own beliefs, right? He cornered them into admitting that their statues were completely powerless. But incredibly, even though they fully realized the statues couldn't even defend themselves, a lot of them still stubbornly refused to accept the truth. Part 3, thrown into the fire. Well, the rulers at the time were unsurprisingly furious. This kind of public defiance was unheard of. So they escalated the situation in a major way. They prepared a massive, blazing fire to execute him. But here is where it gets incredible. As Ibrahim was literally thrown into those massive flames, Allah commanded, "O fire, be coolness and safety for Ibrahim." By Allah's will, this terrifying punishment was completely neutralized. It became a miraculous sign of divine power, and Ibrahim walked out of that inferno completely unharmed. Absolutely amazing. Which brings us to part 4, the ultimate test. Let's fast forward a bit. Years later, after surviving the fire and continuing his mission, Ibrahim was finally blessed with a son, Ismail. But then he faces what is often described as the greatest test ever given to a prophet. In a dream, Ibrahim receives a truly devastating command from Allah to sacrifice his beloved son. It's almost unimaginable for us, right? But he actually shares this incredibly difficult vision with Ismail, preparing himself to give up the very thing he loved most in the entire world, just to show his absolute, unwavering obedience to the Creator. And Ismail's response? It is just incredible. Instead of resisting or panicking like most of us probably would, he simply says, "Father, do as Allah has commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, among the patient." It's such a profound moment. It showcases this beautiful shared submission between a father and son. Both of them were entirely willing to submit to whatever Allah willed for them, no matter the cost. But as Ibrahim was preparing to actually go through with this ultimate test of obedience, Allah intervened. The sacrifice was stopped right there, and Allah replaced Ismail with a ram. It was this ultimate demonstration of divine mercy, perfectly balancing out their unparalleled display of submission and faith. And that ancient act of complete trust, it actually anchors one of the most significant modern global practices today. Right now, millions and millions of Muslims remember and honor this exact act of obedience every single year during the celebration of Eid al-Adha. It truly is a timeless example. Part 5. Building the Kaaba. So, following that monumental test, Allah gave the father and son a brand new, literally world-changing mission. He commanded Ibrahim and Ismail to build the Kaaba in Makkah. So together they raised its foundations, praying the whole time for their efforts to be accepted. And that structure, the Kaaba, became the very first house of worship dedicated to Allah alone. It created a powerful focal point that, again, millions of Muslims continue to visit every single year for Hajj and Umrah. Section 6. The Father of the Prophets. Now, Ibrahim earned this very special title, the Father of the Prophets, because his family tree branches into a truly legendary lineage. Just look at this. His descendants include Ismail, Ishaq, Yaqub, Yusuf, Musa, Isa, and finally Prophet Muhammad, peace upon them all. And the amazing thing is, they all carried forward his exact same essential message of worshiping one God alone. It's an incredible legacy. Which leads us to part 7. Lessons from the life of Prophet Ibrahim. So, what do we take away from all this? From surviving a blazing fire to being willing to sacrifice his deepest desires, his life is essentially a masterclass in sincere faith. The core lessons are so clear for us today. Trust Allah even in the absolutely most difficult times. Stand for the truth even if you have to stand entirely alone. Show immense patience and courage. And always remember that Allah never abandons those who place their trust in Him. Complete trust is never misplaced. His unwavering belief quite literally changed the world forever. And it really leaves us with one final provocative thought about our own courage and devotion. Will we find the strength to always stand for the truth in our own lives, just like he did? It is definitely a powerful question to carry with us. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did.